Well, the Aussie share market fell for a second straight day, with the ASX 200 falling to a 7-week low, down by 97.2 points. To Scott Phillips from Motley. And Scott, thanks for your time. Sectors fell into the red today, 9 of them. There was energy and materials. They were the biggest laggards.
Yeah, Michael, good evening. They certainly were, both down more than 2%. And they are so important to the ASX in terms of market weight, the miners and the financials. When they're in negative territory, the rest of the market really has no choice but to follow. For the longest time, the US market has been more extreme than us because the tech stocks have been on the nose. But unfortunately, when energy and materials prices fall, the Australian market tends to fall with them.
And how much does the latest rate rise have to do with today's falls?
Quite a bit, probably, Michael, to be fair. Although, as I said, when the materials prices fall, it really is look out below for the ASX. That said, we did really see the market ebb away yesterday afternoon after the RBA's decision, and reason to believe that lack of confidence remains because, of course, the rate decision wasn't a surprise. 0.5% was exactly what the market had already priced in, and yet sometimes the reality just hurts a little more than the expectation, and that was probably part of today's falls as well.
And Scott, the economy has been growing strongly, though, based on today's GDP numbers.
This is the challenge for the Reserve Bank. Almost any other time in economic history, we look at 3.6% annual economic growth and say, fantastic, that's exactly what we wanted. Everything's rosy, everything's great. This was the best annual performance for 10 years. The 2011-12 financial year was the last time we had growth this good. The problem, of course, as we well and truly know, as the RBA has laid out very clearly, is it's adding to inflation. High retail sales, high economic growth, low unemployment, they're great things to have normally. When they are too good, that's when we see prices start to rise. And unfortunately, it will both reassure the RBA that yesterday's decision was the right one, and it'll probably embolden them to go again next month.
And before we let you go, Scott, what are we expecting when the US markets open tonight?
Unfortunately, early futures aren't particularly great for us. The early US futures suggest a fall of about 0.2% on US markets. Not a massive one, but not particularly welcome given what happened today on the ASX.
Scott Phillips, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Michael.